Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to today's Humber alumni interview. My name is Subata. I am the career support here at Humber, advising in career services for the summer semester. And the concept of the alumni interviews is basically to get in touch with Humber alumni who are working in the field or have experience working in their respective fields and kind of get their advice in terms of, how they got the jobs they wanted and what steps they took to utilize, to best utilize resources they have at Humber, as well as their experience with the impact of COVID-19 and working from home, and their 2 cents on how that would have changed the industry, or if it has changed in the industry in any way. So today we have the first session, and our first guest is Amy. And I'm really happy to have this interview with her because Amy is actually a former, she's not just a former student from the Law Clerk program who graduated in 2020, but she is also someone who worked with me at the Career Center until very recently. So hi, Amy, how are you doing today?
Hello, I'm good. I'm doing pretty good right now. So yes, I worked at the Humber Career Center. It was an amazing experience. I just finished the Law Clerk program, and I have some experience working in the financial industry. I was working at a law firm before in the accounting department, so transitioning into the Law Clerk diploma is like a second career for me. So yeah, that's like a bit about my background.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about how you transitioned from, your previous degree into the Law Clerk program.
So before I went to U of T for my Bachelor of Commerce, and I was working a bit as an accountant in the law firm, and I really enjoyed working as an accountant, but I also was interested in the field of law. So I decided to make the jump and apply at Humber for the Law Clerk diploma. And yeah, I don't regret it at all. It was a great experience. I really enjoyed going to Humber and connecting with students and just like working on campus. So yeah.
Nice. So when you were at Humber, was there any aspect of like the program, like in particular, that was really appealing to you?
I really loved all my professors. Like they have a lot of industry experience. Some of them were lawyers. A lot of them have been teaching for a long time. So they're able to provide like, I guess, that experience and pass it on to their students. Also at the same time, Humber really focuses on hands-on practical knowledge. Like you work with the software, you work with the actual documents that you would be working on in like a real life, like a law firm. So when I was doing my placement and when I was working at my summer job, I was really able to put those skills to work. So yeah, I feel like that's a bit different than what I was getting at U of T, which was a lot of theory based, but not a lot of hands-on experience. So I would say my experience at Humber was a little bit better than U of T in that regard. So yeah, I really enjoyed the program overall.
Yeah, I mean, as a paralegal student myself, I do agree. I also have a background, like a university degree, and I think that the hands-on approach that professors at Humber take is just so great and so beneficial. And I mean, I don't have work experience in my field yet, but it's a relief to know from you that, that was something that was really beneficial and helpful when you were doing your placement. That's good to know. So while you were at Humber, did you utilize any on-campus resources or something that, to make the most of your student experience?
So I was at the Career Center, so I got to learn about what they do. And I really think that all the advisors there are amazing. Everybody has some really good advice. And I think that if you're trying to launch like your career and trying to like build kind of, I don't know, trying to like build like up the courage to find a job, you should go to the Career Center. Go and have somebody look over your resume or your cover letter, or just have somebody like help you work on your interview skills. I think the Career Center is an amazing place. I was able to go and ask my advisor like questions about like how can I start my career search or when should I start applying for my placement. And everybody's really nice there. So I would tell students to go there as your first resource if you don't know what to do. That's one of the things I did, and I felt like it really helped. Another thing was in my program, we had a placement component. So I talked to my placement advisor, and she was able to connect me with a few networking events. And that's actually how I was able to land a summer position and also to land my full-time job after I had graduated like a few months ago. So yeah, go and do that.
No, I completely agree with you on both things. I think I still remember, everyone kind of getting together at the career center, and like we would take out little pockets of time, like during our breaks, to help each other out with like job applications and resumes and stuff, and especially all the people who were graduating. I thought that was a really nice kind of sense of camaraderie that we had, that we would kind of give everyone input on, okay, this looks good or this looks good. I thought that was really great. But yeah, for sure, I think that the career center is a great resource to have, and it's good that I think we were lucky as well, because we kind of had firsthand access to the resources, and as well as the placement work. I think that joining like networking events and things like that, that's really, really important to do while you're in school, so that by the time you graduate, you have some kind of leads or something to kind of get you going. So that's really great.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of students start like in their last semester when they're looking for full-time work. But I feel like if you have a chance to do some networking in your first semester, then you should try it out, see what it's like, kind of experience it to kind of know what you should work on and what you need to improve on.
Yeah. I think, at least in my case, I remember going through this in university and getting this advice from people. And I remember thinking, well, what would I say to them? I don't know anything.
Exactly.
Yes. But I think now that I look back, I think that you have to have, the courage to overcome that fear and not be afraid to mess up, because, okay, even if you mess up, maybe at the first networking event, that helps you learn for the next event. And then you know what to do or like what not to do. So I think it's important to just take that leap. And I think that's really great. So while we're on the topic of talking about, your experience working as a work study student, do you want to talk about how you ended up in your work study role at the Career Center?
Yeah, so I actually went for one of the Humber tours, and a lot of the tours, they have their launch point, which is at the Career Center. So when I first entered the Career Center, I was like, oh, this is like a nice place. Like everybody seems to really like each other, and they have like a really good, I feel like a connection with each other and also a connection to Humber. So I was like, maybe I should work here. And then I went and I looked on our Career Connect website, which is where all the work study positions are posted. And I applied for the job at the Career Center, had an interview, and then I got my job. Yeah.
Nice.
Pretty easy.
Yeah. But yeah, for sure. I think it's a good idea that you mentioned the tour that you took and like the fact that you like reached out to them using Career Connect. I think that there are some really good jobs that are posted on Career Connect that it helps to look at them just to get an idea if you're looking for a work study role, or even if you're looking for a role. Like my favorite feature of Career Connect is that it shows you jobs based on your program and like based on what other people in your program are applying to. And those are either jobs in your industry or work study roles. So I really like that and it's being updated regularly and everything. So it's been.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody that, like all the employers that post their jobs on Career Connect, they know that they're hiring students. So they know like your experience level might not all be there, and they might need to like train you. So I think as students applying for those roles, it's a little bit easier instead of trying to apply for roles where you need like 5 years of experience, but you don't have any. So yeah, it's a good resource for sure.
Also, another thing to consider with Career Connect is that it's being very strictly monitored by people. So, for example, random websites like, I don't know, Indeed and stuff, they're really good websites, but sometimes you run into the possibility of like a shady job or, and especially students, I think that they like the whole job scam situation is something that unfortunately students or people who are not familiar with, work stuff here often tend to get caught up in. So that's also
Right.
another reason why Career Connect can be like a not just a better option, but also a safer option.
That's true, yes. And like I feel like scammers nowadays, they're like so believable. They create like websites and it looks exactly like a regular company, but then yeah, you can never tell really until like I guess until something bad happens basically, and you don't want that to happen.
Hmm. So coming back to you though, you
Hmm.
were working as a work study student at the Career Center. You were also doing your placement in the last couple of months, and then you were also balancing, your academic work. So how did you manage your time between all of those things?
Oh God, it was a lot. Like, I made sure that I had 2 full days off. So, out of the week, I would work 9 to 5 on those 2 days, and then kind of squeeze my school schedule around the other free days. And then working at the career center, I also kind of like had to work around that as well. But the good thing about working as a work study student is that they understand that you have school and you have classes, so they're able to kind of work around your school schedule. I felt like I had to really stay on top of things. I really relied on my calendar. You kind of have to know like how much time you have in each day and what you need to have completed by like the end of the week or the end of the month, and just stay on top of things.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think you remember me with my little like planner just in sitting in a corner in the office, just like jotting down things. I think that's really important to have.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like just when you get like overwhelmed with things that you have to do, it kind of just like you want to have things to keep track of like what you need to do. So having that like agenda on the side to remind you what you need to get done is a good resource. Yeah.
Also, something that really helped me was just breaking down tasks. So, for example, there were a lot of times where we had to write like really long papers and essays and stuff and conduct legal research. So,
Hmm.
dividing that in between weeks and kind of breaking down the task kind of made it seem more doable for me as a person who did not have any background in law and was just starting
Uh-huh.
out. So, um,
Right.
it also helped eliminate a little bit of the nervousness that comes from tackling stuff like that. So, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. The hardest part is like starting something, right? So like I feel like once you get started, it's like you're on a roll and you just want to finish it. And then yeah, I mean, starting early is always something that I did, especially when like writing legal documents, because you always want to look through it again and revise it. So I would advise just starting early so you have enough time to read over things. And I know that sometimes it gets really overwhelming, so that's why like keeping a good calendar is like recommended.
Yeah, for sure, for
Mm.
sure. Um, so when you were working, so now coming to, your placement as well as your time at the Career Center, what was your personal experience like when we shifted from, working at the office to working remotely? I think you mentioned that your placement kind of ended right before the lockdown happened, but if you know about the measures they were taking or something, even at your firm, I'd be interested to know about that.
So at my firm, since I started in January, like right when my semester started, I was able to complete like probably like 95% of my hours before everything was locked down in March. So I was lucky in that regard, but they were already starting to do like a lot of work from home testing. People were staying at home some of the days and just working straight off their computers. And they were testing out the networks even before that. So I think at my law firm, they were like prepared and ready to do it. So I think after the lockdown was announced, it was kind of like everybody was working from home at that point, so you really didn't have a choice. Um, so I think like in that regard, they were pretty prepared, but I would still say that like I kind of miss like the whole like face-to-face interaction, and I miss like yeah, especially at work, like when we started working from home for the career center, it was pretty hard. Yeah, I feel like getting to know each student that came in and seeing like their reaction to like the advice that you're giving them and just helping someone out in person is different than helping someone out over like a communicator like messaging system. And that's the part I miss the most about it. But I felt like our career center, like our managers and the advisors were really good at helping us to have that transition. And they gave us like a lot of good material to work with for working from home. So I was really lucky and glad that we had like that opportunity.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
they did a really good job of kind of helping us transition and helping us kind of get back into, the work that we were all doing without kind of skipping a beat. But I totally agree. I really miss the camaraderie that we all had, and, just kind of getting together and like helping each other out when, there was a lot of traffic or something, or like helping out the students. I think that especially in like an academic setting, there's really something valuable about getting to meet new students, or like having opportunities to meet students. And I
Yeah,
think
right.
that was something that we experienced that, that's not the same. But I mean, at the very least, we're able to still offer the same services at the Career Center just
Exactly.
remotely. So I think that our managers have done a really good job of that. Um, but in terms of your placement and the firm that you're working at, I know that you were working in a corporate law firm. So, what, in your opinion, is the impact, if any, if like of like working from home? Do you think that the norm of how work occurs in the corporate law industry is going to change in any way?
I feel like working in corporate law, a lot of things are done with like physical copies. You're getting clients to come in and sign things. We have like full on like books that you put like all your client documents in, and your clients pay for that type of service. Like they pay for physical copies, they pay for the storage of physical copies and the maintenance of that. And I know a lot of firms moving towards like the digital version of it, and a lot of them were digitalized, but yeah, I feel like working in corporate law, it's like kind of hard because you're missing that full component. A lot of things can obviously be done like before, and like the coordination of like the documents can be done before. But yeah, I'm not really sure how it will affect like that physical component. Maybe they'll move to digital. Maybe this will be like a good opportunity for people to be like, maybe we could just get rid of all those like books and just try to do something a bit more advanced, like technologically, since it's available for like a lot of firms now.
Mm-hmm. But
Mm,
yeah, I think there's also something to be said. Like, there's obviously a very highly confidential aspect, as well as because of the legal aspect to all the work that you're doing.
exactly.
You kind of need the physical signature sometimes on the documents,
Hmm.
for accurate verification. Then there's the aspect of, if you post something online, there's all obviously security measures that you have to take
Right.
accordingly. So those are probably things that people would be thinking about. And then in terms of, uh, you know, you guys, like people who are working in the firm, uh, we're normally working in teams. You're not really doing stuff by yourself. So, there might be uh, kind of measures that people would have to take to make sure that they can, replicate that or kind of supplement that in
Yeah.
some way.
Right.
But
Yeah. Because a
yeah.
lot of the time, like as a law clerk, you're working under a lawyer and you're helping them with documents. So it's kind of difficult because, like, let's say, like, if I gave my lawyer a document and he just wanted to write some changes on it and then he would give it back, like, would that be like kind of like, I think the process would take a lot longer. So I think like actual physical interaction and having it be so easy to speak to somebody in real life is missing. So yeah, hopefully like people working remotely can like work with that. But yeah.
Yeah. But I guess it's maybe nice to know that, if there is like, once we get back to normal, hopefully soon,
Hmm.
it may be a good opportunity for people if there's a situation where they have to work from home again. So just for example, um, somebody going on like maternity leave or something like that. So that, you know, they may be able to put some measures in place beforehand, maybe, right?
Yeah. Right,
So,
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Like they'll know that working. I feel like some people now are trying to push working from home for even like a few days of the week,
mm,
instead of like going back like full time 5 days a week. So I think it's possible, like especially if you're still productive and you're still doing work. Like I don't see why that would be a problem at all.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, I totally agree. So how do you think that current students and recent graduates can better prepare for, the job environment right now? Or what do you think that they could be doing right now to, kind of manage their time or something, or better prepare?
Okay, so for current students, I would say, like before start networking. I don't know how people are going to be doing that nowadays. I've heard about virtual networking. We've talked about it, but I'm not sure how it works because I've never actually tried it myself. I would say to get in contact with your advisor at school, ask them like how students are going about job searching nowadays, or how they're like preparing for this kind of job search in this environment. First steps for current students would be to have your resume done, go and do your cover letter, and have a talk with somebody about like potential like networking skills you can work on, or like interview skills if you do get that interview. So I think you still have a long time to prepare and kind of get yourself together and to help launch your, like the Career Center can help launch your career. So that's like a really great resource. Go and use it. And for recent grads, like it's quite hard. The environment is very competitive. There's a lot of people that want to work from home. So the job boards are just full of like, I guess like a lot of scams, but they're also full of people that want to look for jobs. So it's kind of like a lot of like pressure. And because of COVID, like not a lot of people are like interviewing right now even. So I would say don't give up. Like don't give up on your job search. Like I think once things go back to normal and people start like hiring again, then your opportunities will start coming up. But just don't give up and make sure that you kind of take a break if you feel like overwhelmed by the job search, or you feel like overwhelmed for like searching and applying online. So I think that keeping your mental health in check is also something that is like really important to do nowadays.
Yeah, totally agree. I think balancing, kind of keeping at it with maintaining your mental health, especially at a time right now. I mean, we're in a lockdown because of the pandemic, right? Like, let's not ignore that. So there's a lot going on that normally isn't going on.
Exactly.
A lot of like stress factors. So it's important to take time out for yourself as well. I do totally agree with that. And like, I think in terms for new grads, you were also saying something about like kind of keeping at it, and also for current students, you were talking about networking, right? In my personal experience, like with students that I've been working with, I found that LinkedIn has actually been a pretty good resource for people to reach out to, so they can kind of connect with alumni or people in their industry whose work they admire, or people who are working in a specific niche that they're interested in working in, and kind of, maybe try and reach out to them, see if they'd be interested in sitting down with you for an informational interview where you can just kind of pick their brain and ask them what you should be doing or what you could be doing right now to kind of, while you wait to get your job. So that's something that students could do. And I think another thing that came to my mind was, oh, I can't remember it. It's okay. It'll come to me. But
I think like at the same time, like reaching out and talking to people about like job searching and what they've done is really helpful. A lot of the time, like even through networking events, that doesn't mean you're going to get a job. But I think learning about what people have done after they've networked, like keeping in touch with like the HR managers and always keeping that conversation going. I think getting people's perspective on that and asking people how they landed their job is like an opportunity to kind of learn more about the industry in general. I guess now it's like kind of hard, right? Because this is like the first time everybody's going through like trying to get a job through a pandemic. So I think, yeah, there's a lot of resources floating around, but also a lot of confusion. So I think just learning as much as you can is like important.
Yeah, for sure. Also, I mean, for our programs, because we have placement components, reaching out to your placement advisor well in advance is probably good both for you and for them, because they're also probably swamped right now.
Exactly.
So I remember what I was going to say. I was going to say that it's probably important to keep in mind that if you're not getting a call back, if you've been applying to jobs and you're not getting a call back, number one, it's natural for that to kind of like your ego takes a hit when you don't get a call back, right? Because you work so hard to apply and everything. So that's natural, and it shouldn't kind of keep you down. If you feel like it's getting to be too much, for sure, take a step back, take a break. And another thing that you can do is bear in mind that it's not because of you that you're not getting a callback. If that is the case, it's probably not you. It's more, especially in our fields like paralegals and law clerks, it's more the nature of the job itself and the fact that they kind of need you on site so that they're able to train you, because there's so much nuance to the work, and there's a lot of highly sensitive stuff that you have to work with. So it's probably because of that, rather than anything that has to do with a student's qualifications or credibility.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Even for my position, I was supposed to start my full-time position at the end of April, but it was pushed back until like May and then June and then now September. So I have a lot of experience working in a law firm, and I'm still not able to start working. And a few of my interviews were canceled before the lockdown happened because of this. And yeah, I think that it is a very hard environment for students out there. And knowing that, you're kind of not so hard on yourself. And job searching is hard in general. It's a really nerve-wracking experience, and people don't know what's happening, and you don't have control of the whole process. And yeah, so just don't be so hard on yourself, especially now. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. Thanks so much for sitting down with me today, Amy. I'm sure that people who watch this are going to get some really, really good advice. You've given some great tips to the students regarding, what they need to do and, everything else. And for the students who are watching and the recent grads who are watching, thank you for joining us. And also, we offer services. We're offering them remotely right now. So if you want to book an appointment with one of your program advisor, you can do so. If you want to book an appointment with me, I help out with resume feedback and cover letter feedback. If you have an interview coming up, I can help you out with a mock interview. And I can also help you set up your LinkedIn profile. We can go through all of those things. You can also go to the careers.humber.ca website. And over there, you'll find our advisor's information as well as my contact information. And you can also find some really great free resources. The website has been updated recently, and these resources are really great for learning how to build your job application, learning how to put your best foot forward. And the best part is that they've been crafted by, highly trained career development professionals. And, make sure you utilize them, make sure you utilize the free services that you have while you're here at Humber. And also for recent alumni, our services are open for you as well. So thanks so much again, Amy, for joining us. I had a wonderful time speaking with you today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Okay, take care. Bye, everyone.